This is from Amrita in London, UK. I think some people don't fall for the wrong person. They fall for the idea that love means devotion, no matter what. That was me. I gave 8 years to someone, and I loved him. It started with a message. Jay was polite, well-spoken, and just thoughtful. Said he worked in cardiology, lived nearby. We had mutual friends, even a similar background. I wasn't swept off my feet, I just felt safe. That was new. He'd text me good morning before my alarm even went off. Asked about my headaches, remembered my favorite tea. He never pushed for anything, no pressure, just this steady presence that slowly became the most reliable thing in my life. I didn't tell anyone about him, not even my sister, partly because I didn't want to be judged. Online love still felt embarrassing, but also because it felt sacred, like naming it would somehow break the spell we were weaving. We made plans to meet, once at a cafe near Ealing, another time near his clinic. But every single time, something went wrong, a family emergency, car trouble, last-minute shift. I wanted to believe him, so I did. Then one night, he called me. It was a video call, but his camera was acting up. Still, for half a second, I saw him. Blurry, shadowed, but there. That half second became everything. I clung to it like proof. I started shaping my life around him, without realizing it. I skipped dinners with friends, stayed in on weekends, and kept my phone close, like it was sacred. If he didn't message, I couldn't relax. His silence felt louder than noise. He never said we were together, but it felt like we were. We talked late into the night, sometimes about nothing, sometimes about everything. He called me his peace. I let that sentence replay in my head for weeks. My friends started noticing. They asked why I always looked tired, why I wasn't dating, why I seemed distracted. I laughed it off, told them I was just busy. But deep down, I didn't know what I was waiting for. When my uncle got sick, Jay checked on me every single night. He prayed with me, listened to me cry, sent me voice notes that felt like warm blankets. I told myself, this is what love is. It's care, it's presence, it's showing up. But sometimes he'd vanish. No warning, just silence. And my body would tighten like it knew something was off. Then, days later, he'd come back with a crisis. A car crash, a surgery, a lost relative. And I'd feel guilty for ever doubting him. I started asking questions. Why haven't we met? Why can't I come to you? His answers were always gentle, but vague. He'd deflect with softness. A compliment, a story. It was like hugging smoke, nothing to hold, but something that filled me anyway. I told myself to be patient. Real love takes time, right? Not everything needs to move fast. And I didn't want to be that girl, the one who pushed too hard and scared him away. So I stayed, even when it didn't feel right anymore. Did you know? About 53% of romance scams aren't about money. They're about emotional dependency. Victims often stay not because they believe lies, but because they believe love should be hard. Manipulators use that idea as a weapon. In 2023, people reported over $1.3 billion in romance scam losses. And that's just what was reported. But the real cost is deeper. Many survivors say the betrayal shattered their ability to trust, even themselves. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. You can still be the victim. Some early red flags of emotional fraud include avoiding in-person meetings, love bombing early on, convenient personal tragedies, refusing consistent video contact. If your gut says something's off, it's okay to pause. Real love doesn't hide. Anyway, back to the story. It was a random message. My cousin messaged me late one night. Hey, just a heads up. I think that guy you're talking to isn't real. My stomach dropped. I laughed at first, but she wasn't joking. She said she'd seen the name before, on fake profiles. She swore someone had used that photo in other online circles. It's not him, she said. It's someone else pretending. Her words crawled under my skin like static. I felt suddenly cold. I asked Jay, point blank. His answer was silence. That night, I waited for a reply that never came. No apology, no denial, just nothing. The absence of an answer was worse than any lie. It made everything echo. I stopped eating. I barely slept. I replayed every message, every call, every blurry glimpse. I told myself maybe I misunderstood. Maybe he was just scared. But deep down, in the quietest part of myself, I already knew. I had built an entire world around a person who didn't exist. A ghost I fed with my attention, my faith, my time. And now that he was gone, it felt like I was the one disappearing. Like I had handed over pieces of myself I couldn't get back. I became obsessed with the truth. I pulled every screenshot, every voicemail, every email. I built timelines, cross-referenced details, searched through old accounts. I needed to see the pattern, not just to expose him, but to convince myself I wasn't crazy. And then I found it. The number, the IP address, the recycled email used in another account, one tied to my own cousin. Someone I'd grown up with. Someone who knew my secrets. I stared at her name on the screen, and my hands went numb. I confronted her. At first, she acted confused, then defensive. Then she started to cry. She said it started as a joke. Said it got out of hand. Said she didn't think I'd actually fall for it. I don't know what hurt more, the lie or the laughter underneath her apology. I told my parents. They didn't understand. My mother looked at me like I'd admitted to stealing from the family. "You're a smart girl," she said. "How could you let this happen?" I wanted to scream, but instead, I just sat there and nodded. I filed a civil suit, not for revenge, just for proof that this happened, that I wasn't imagining it, that I didn't fall in love with a shadow for nothing. The process was slow, but it gave me a frame to stand in, a version of the truth I could finally point to. The court sided with me. She paid damages. She signed an agreement. But she never looked me in the eye. And she never really said sorry. Not in a way that mattered. Some apologies aren't words. They're absences that echo louder than any scream. I wish I could tell you I moved on quickly, that I woke up one day and just let go. But grief doesn't work like that. Sometimes I still wake up reaching for my phone, expecting a message from someone who never existed. I keep thinking about this one memory. He sent me a voice note once, just humming a Punjabi lullaby. I played it on repeat while sitting on the floor of my flat. Back then, it felt like love. Now I wonder if it was just performance. These days, I'm rebuilding. I don't trust easily, and I still second-guess my own instincts. But I've started talking to people again. Real people. People who show up when they say they will. It's strange how healing can feel like learning how to breathe again. Sometimes I ask myself, did I love him? Or did I love the way he made me feel about myself? Was it ever about him? Or was I just chasing a version of connection I was too scared to ask for in real life? Have you ever experienced something like this? If you've ever loved someone who wasn't what they seemed, I hope you know you're not foolish. You were just hoping. Leave a comment if this resonated with you. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this one, please consider subscribing. You never know who might need to read what you share.